guess I'll kick it off. We're both new to this. Throwing this out there. Welcome to Circled Back. The idea behind this is to build a community for people who have shared experiences or have been through these things. Would love to hear stories from other people as well. But I'm going to introduce my first guest, which is Dylan Shrier. He is a graphic designer. He's worked at Spartan Race. He's worked at MTV. He does a lot of freelance work. But I don't want to tell your life story for you. I'll let you go ahead and do that. Introduce yourself if you'd like to.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. No, happy to be here and obviously have this great conversation as presented. So, but yeah, I mean, nailed it. Obviously in the same boat as well. And just being a designer, it's very tough out here. And just trying to love what we do, but we all know we're starving artists over here. It's what we get. So
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's a lot more challenging. I don't know if you can relate to this, but a lot more challenging to find a job now um, than it was when we were in school or just graduating from school. Seems like a lot has changed, but me personally, it's been almost 2 years since I got laid off from my corporate gig, which is where we worked together.
mhm.
Um, I understand these things happen, but I've been looking for jobs ever since and have had no luck. Um, I think I've had not I think I've had about two interviews since that time period that I was laid off. Hundreds of applications put out there and nothing back. And for me personally, I've reached out to contacts about guidance as far as, maybe how to make myself more marketable. Um, or things that I could do to my portfolio, but I'm not even getting anything back, from
Yeah.
recruiters or hiring managers. You're just left in this sort of void, when trying to
Yeah.
look for jobs. But I'm just curious, like for me, it's been in a way a transformative journey because it's making me wonder if the corporate life is something that I want. Do I want to focus on maybe just like a retail job and be able to work on passion projects, because working in corporate, it could be a little creatively exhausting sometimes.
True.
um, but I'm just kind of curious, you're an athlete and you're always busy with preparing for marathons pretty much too. So, how has getting laid off, I mean, do you want to tell your story about getting laid off and,
Sure.
what that journey's looked like for you with the job hunt, et cetera?
Yeah, no, totally. No, like so yeah, this is my second time getting laid off. And the first time was COVID, but that pretty much happened to everyone. So everyone was kind of in the same boat, and I obviously it was very stressful because we didn't know what was going to happen next with the world and just the market. But I obviously felt like I wasn't alone, like I was in the same position as everyone else. But the second time around, I was previously at Live Golf and I spent a year there working, being just a generalist designer, working on everything, every product, and everything in that way. And they basically cut me loose. They kind of for not really a good reason. I mean, I've heard suspicions before going to Live Golf that it was really weird and just the quality of people and the work ethic. But obviously, like I felt like it was a good step for me to go in that position, knowing that I want to go into sports more dynamic down the road. But yeah, it's kind of happened out of nowhere. And it definitely was very cold at the end. I mean, I was liked by all my coworkers, and I felt like I was being a team player, but things just kind of turned for the worse in that way. Obviously, it sucks when you first lose that job. Like you have that like pinch your stomach, and you kind of feel like your life is just falling apart in that moment. Where like what's going to happen next, like how am I going to make money, how am I going to find my next situation. It's all about stability. And like for me, knowing that I'm a designer and then on the side I'm a big runner, I like the stability of like that's my outlet. When I'm not designing, I'm running and doing athletics and stuff like that. So you know I definitely think towards the end of my time at Live, I really, I wasn't really having fun with the work, but I was blessed to have a job. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
But now, I have the freedom to work on freelance through many different clients and projects that really just kind of make me more eager to learn and just expand my palette within design. Um, but yeah, no, it's definitely, I have good days, I have bad days, depending on the workload and just how you're feeling. Just because I live in New York City and everything's so expensive outside, and obviously I'm trying to reasonably balance my life socially and work wise. But yeah, no, it's definitely, I am in the hunt for, finding something full time that's in office. I do like the corporate life in that way, just to have some, leverage of comfortability, like I've said. But eventually, like as we get older, as designers get older, we tend to go more towards freelance and just kind of, you know, why put so much pressure on ourselves to do the 9 to 5 grind that everyone else does? And we can take our talents to obviously contracting or freelancing for bigger clients when we kind of make it in this world. And towards the end of that. So, but yeah, it's been a journey. But obviously I am blessed to where I am, and obviously like I like what I do and I wouldn't change it for anything out there.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely I'd say to your point about being in corporate and everything like that, it does provide a sense of security. You've got the benefits there,
Hmm.
and the stability. Freelance is challenging, and how has it been as far as making new contacts? Are you kind of relying on old contacts and for them to like put a good word out there for you? Have you
Yeah.
seen like an increase in like I guess clients since then? Has it given you more drive since you've been laid off, you know?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I've gotten some new clients after I've had the same clients like, working in New York City. Like obviously I had the 9 to 5, but I was also still freelancing, and that's, you
Yeah.
kind of have to hustle, at
You're
least
a
in the city.
workhorse. Yeah.
Yes. As any creative in the city, they have to like have a double job situation.
Yeah.
And I got some new clients after I got laid off, but it's just kind of been the stability, small projects, and just kind of small little assets that I do. And obviously it adds up, but at the same time, it can be a lot of pivoting and a lot of just like a lot of outreach and seeing who's out there that could connect me with someone that is looking for a project or design or creative. Um, but at the same time too, like having some of my old coworkers from Spartan when we worked, like they were great enough to be reaching out to me like, hey, like they remember how much work we've done and how great it is that they're willing to work with us still. And that's what's great about like being creative industry, where like we're all still connected and we're all just trying to like work with each other and have each other's backs. Unlike some industries where it's very cutthroat.
Yeah, yeah, it's very true. I still keep in contact with some people from Spartan too, and they've been great champions for me,
Mhm.
So it's just tricky out there. Um, so how do you feel about your portfolio and how you're presenting yourself as a professional, when you're applying to jobs? Um, do you feel confident in that? Are you having issues getting interviews with people? What's the feedback like?
Yeah. No, it's definitely good. I mean, I think my portfolio is strong. I think like when we ended college, like we just kind of had like our own personal projects, and it's hard to leverage that in the beginning. It's like that first, it's like almost being a doctor in the beginning of our career. Like you just grind and you try to find just a way into these places and just try to get work and be recognized in that way. And so now we've come to like we've been in our career for a bit now where we have good work to leverage that, like real life stuff. And I feel like I personally am getting a lot of interviews. I guess just kind of being in the city as well is a good leverage, I think. But also just I guess the work I'm doing and putting my book is really nice to kind of see that it is, every time you get a new job, it's easier to get interviews or just get people, hiring managers, to reach out that they are looking for a position. But at the same time, like you can get an interview, but the process can be so toxic, or just how they don't get back to you, or like there's a 10-step process just to even get to like the final stages. It's just
Yeah.
like you're going through a lot of hula hoops, and it's like it's really sometimes unnecessary. Obviously, we can go down another. Obviously, there's another episode, but ChatGPT AI. That's another
Yeah.
situation
Yeah. Yeah.
where people are getting lazy and they're doing layout design through that. And obviously, you need a designer. Like we went to school for art and design and graphic design. We know what layout is, and like it's just built into our vocabulary of how it should be done the right way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's definitely I we can talk about it because that does have
mhm,
something to do with why we're in this situation, I think, too, partially.
yeah,
Like it definitely contributed to why um at least I lost my position,
mhm,
laid off. But with companies um trying out platforms like Canva and things like that and trying to replace designers and everything. Um, I do think that that's also had an impact on the layoffs. But to me, I think it's going to be something that they just have to see over maybe the next couple of years or something, how it's going to impact the results,
yeah.
at the
You know,
company.
it's
But
definitely a pivot for a lot of people, and I think like right now it's a booming thing where like people are just jumping on it, and like it's the shortest route to whatever you're delivering. But they'll come to realize, who knows? I can't predict the future, but it's you can't you have to have the human experience to really develop these organic assets for
yeah, and
companies and brands.
yeah, and things that are like more original, because it's just going
Exactly.
to source things that are already existing.
Hmm.
I understand, like, we go through loops anyway when it comes to trends, like right now 90s and stuff like that is big. But kind of hopping to another part of this,
Yep.
um, like is there any advice or anything you'd be looking for in terms of guidance with your job hunt right now?
Yeah. I mean, I think with the guidance part, at least like for someone who like I never did an internship when I was younger and just kind of like to hop in right into it, like right out of school, which I was very blessed about. I think it's you kind of have to just be like just so on it, at least like with finding a job and getting in front of people. Like it's you really just have to like really be on the recruiters and keep putting feelers out there no matter what. Like you never know what might happen,
Yeah.
and it doesn't hurt to try in those situations, I think.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
even
sorry.
right now. No, you're good.
uh,
Um,
talking about recruiters and stuff like that, though,
mhm,
like, are you having luck with that? Because I've noticed for me, I'm getting a lot of like bots on LinkedIn,
mhm,
fake recruiters. Yeah, I just like, and then I'm reaching out to companies that are like local as far as
mhm.
recruiters go, but then I'm not getting anything back. I'm not getting any feedback, or
Yeah.
responses in
No,
general.
I do get the bots, and I know a couple of like creative recruiters out there, but even so, like I'll check in with them like I'd say every other week or whatever. I'm like, hey, any updates? Like, is there any good posting jobs? And they just have nothing. Even though like you see a lot of these postings within their company, their recruiting company, they have these design jobs, but clearly like I don't know. I don't. Sometimes I don't know behind the curtain what they do, or at least where these jobs come from, or does it look good for me? I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like they. It seems like at the right now at the time where there's nothing open that's available. At least like what I could work on or be an assistant to.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And it looks like a lot of places are looking for contractors and freelancers anyway,
Mhm.
um, rather than like having a an in-house team, a design
Yeah.
team. Maybe they're keeping it small. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, yeah. So I'm kind of curious to see like what direction that's going to go in as far as designers. Like, are we moving towards like more of like a freelance economy? You know,
Hmm.
maybe it's already there, but what was the other question I was going to ask? It was like, do you think when marketing yourself, I think you're really good you're very on brand with the things that you produce, the
Thank
projects
you.
you work on. Everything is sport related, and like when I see your work, I'm like, oh yeah, like that's Dylan, like that makes sense, which is great for a designer. How do you think it's important for you to show that, or any designer to be like that in this like current economy versus staying on, you're on trend anyway with the work that you produce, but
Yeah, thanks.
seen
Trying,
designers.
trying.
Yeah, no, you do a good job with it for real. But I've also seen designers out there who focus just mainly on trends and making things around the trends as opposed to having the trend apply to the work that you're producing.
Yeah.
Um, how important do you think that is? Or like, which one do you think is more important? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd probably say I'm more towards like, when you're in school and you're becoming a designer out in the world, you really have to find like your style and like who you are and your personality. And like same for you, Chris, like you've always had your style of like the doodles and just very like the playful style, and that's who you are as a person. Like if they see your design, you know exactly who you're talking to. Like it's a
Thank
face to the name
you.
situation.
Thank you.
So I think that's very helpful to because everyone wants to be you want to be original and you want to stand out as a candidate um, to get your next design job, and obviously you want to put a list down of places you want to work because obviously like that's kind of like where your trajectory is. What stands out between you and other people and up going through the company on where you want to land 5 year 10 years down the road. um, but at the same time, like going back to what you said, the other part, using just designing trends and stuff like that, like whatever is like so current, it's the same thing. Like I go back and forth where like, yes, like you always want to keep on trends, but like spin it in your style, like make a project or design that kind of goes with that, but makes it your style and makes it your vibe. Because that's just another add-on to like, okay, you're not just copying the trend, but you're adding like your flavor and like your idea and storytelling concept into that style and trend.
Yeah, and how you can apply current trends to the work that you're producing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. It's a good call. That's a good
Hmm.
call.
I guess what just on the topic, what is your favorite trend right now in design?
Ooh, I love the textures. I love
Yeah.
the textures that are out right now. I'm big when it comes to that, but it's funny because like when it comes to my personal work, I don't really apply them too much.
Mm.
And I probably should. But yeah, I also like some of the typography that's out there right now as
Hmm.
well. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of like a simple man when it comes to that.
Yeah,
But
no, it's
also like 8-bit is making a
yeah.
comeback too, you know?
Hmm.
Um, I was actually just at Dick's Sporting Goods the other day, and I saw some of the Nike apparel, and
Hmm.
I love that it was like the pixel art, and because that's something I'm super into too. And I made like a couple short form gifs.
Yeah,
If you remember of like
we do.
myself
Yeah.
self portraits, yeah, with the 8-bit style. So I love that. Anything like
Yeah,
toy related, anything that's like synonymous with those subjects. Yeah. It's
totally.
cool.
I think the APEC is like we're in this digital age that things are just kind of like, all right, let's make it so yeah, like
Yeah.
extreme with how like futuristic it can be and how
Yeah.
simple and nostalgic as well. So,
Right. Yeah. How about
mhm.
you? Do you have a favorite trend right now?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Like the pixelated, or at least like I like when things are kind of like editorial, like just to kind of hit the hits on a design, like where it's very informational across the board. It's like very textbook, but like there's little accents to it, but you give the whole picture like the beauty of it, but you have, like I said, you have these little hits here and there that make it very a personality and detailed storytelling. Which is cool. I really
Yeah.
like
Are you
enjoy
talking
that.
about like the little elements that it kind of remind me of like lower thirds or something like that?
Yes.
Like on a film camera, you'll see like the little information down
The
there.
low exactly
Yeah.
lower third is exactly what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Either that or like I love even just like the AI bubbly stuff, like where things are very 3D, but they're just kind of like
Yeah.
on a 2D flat like image, and you just have like these weird hits where it's just like whoa, like it's like it kind of just pops at you for no reason.
Yeah. How do you feel about like the gradients and stuff like that? The like metallic gradient
I
trends going on.
Oh, I love those. those gradients, honestly. Like just making that gradient with like a grain as well in it, where it's so seamless, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
What's your take on, do you think it's important to be able to have, as a graphic designer right now, experience with some 3D stuff and also um, animation? Because a lot of the stuff, what I find with social media is it's difficult to just put like static work out there, right? Like you got to have some sort of motion to it. I
Hmm.
think, whether it's just like a short video of you drawing something static or
Yeah.
an animated piece, like people want to see moving stuff, it seems like. Uh,
Yeah. I think we're in that age where like you're seeing a lot of animation, you're seeing a lot of motion. Like it's kind of like what people's eye gets just so sucked into if they're scrolling and they immediately stop. Then obviously a flat image design. I mean, I think depends on the designer. Like, I think this is obviously another conversation as well, where like when you're hiring a graphic designer, they expect X, Y, and Z and more on their skills list. And I'm like, some designers, like, I'm not an animator or motion guy, so like they can't expect me to do X, Y, Z and then extra stuff. Like, I think there's specifically a situation for every person.
Yeah, that's a big
So
topic right now too, I think. I see a lot of things popped up on LinkedIn. It's those unsolicited posts where it's like, we're not videographers or photographers and blah, 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 which I don't disagree with. Uh,
yeah,
it does seem like they're trying to fill multiple roles with under like one title.
yeah.
You know? Um,
You're essentially they're putting on a multiple hats, and it's
yeah,
like at least like we can do that. Like everyone, it's but like you got to pay more. It's like you're doing three people's jobs. That's crazy.
yeah, I think so. And I do think that they're valuable skill sets just to have as a creative. And especially if you go freelance, then you can market more services. But for like an in-house team, like you're talking about in corporate, like it may not be as valued as much
Hmm.
monetarily. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely one of the bigger issues right now.
Hmm.
Um,
I
yeah.
think as far as going
No,
going back to the animation part, I think it's obviously so important to see that, and like especially like working in sports, like that's huge. You want to
yeah.
get these highlights and you want to get these moments are so exciting. Or even just kind of have these playful animation and videos out there. I mean, obviously like I use TikTok and like I just like raw dog like just make videos for fun, but people really
Yeah.
get into it, and like TikTok is not going, it's staying here, it's not going anywhere. So
Yeah, yeah, it definitely seems to be like the go-to platform for
mhm.
yeah, short videos and stuff. I haven't hopped on that trend, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
I
I
think you
kind
would
of
crush it, Chris. You
thanks.
on TikTok, you would be very, very funny.
The thing for me though is like I don't know, like I may have things to talk about, but I don't know if I have things to talk about. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
starting this, I was kind of just like, what the hell am I going to talk about? What do I have to offer to other people? So, but it is more of just like a conversation. If people want to pitch in, then great. But uh,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
think you're just kind of speaking to existence, like with this
Yeah,
whole thing is
yeah, yeah,
episode one, which is crazy. You're
yeah,
speaking to existence of like the things that are, there are problems and no one's talking about them, just kind of letting it slide and like letting them just kind of get grumpy inside without even expressing how we feel. So
yeah, yeah. And it's interesting because people do post about getting laid off, and it's more of kind of like a if you know anybody, like help me out, blah blah blah.
yeah,
But it's still such an isolating feeling.
it is.
We've talked about it before,
Hmm.
but it's you still can't help but feel kind of alone in the process.
Yeah.
Um, and there's got to be like a better way for the application processes to, yeah, just in general for applying to places because
Yeah.
um,
Because
you're just
LinkedIn
in a
and
void, man.
Indeed, all these places, you see there's like, oh, a couple, like 100 applicants, and like that's probably all just fake. I mean, I even saw a post today or whatever. It's like they just post like the job doesn't even exist. They just post it to get data and to see people that
Yeah,
apply for it, which is crazy,
I've heard about that. I've heard about places having to like they want their employees to post about things and stuff like that. But or even if it's like they already have a candidate ready
Yeah.
internally, they still have to post the position, you know?
Hmm.
Um,
Nuts.
yeah,
It's crazy.
We've got about 10 minutes left
Okay.
because I am cheap and haven't done the upgraded version of Zoom. Maybe we'll get there one of these days, but I honestly didn't even think we'd talk this long. But
No, it's I'm
yeah,
all for it. I mean, this is the live doing every day, you know?
yeah. So I don't know, like putting it out there for other people too, like curious on people's thoughts when it comes to the application process. Are you hearing back with anything? Are you getting interviews? Uh,
Hmm.
how would you like the process to change too? You know,
Yeah,
if
that's
at all.
yeah. I mean, it's anything will work besides this process now, what we're dealing with right now. I mean, I get it. It's hard for a lot of everyone's applying for the same job. It's a competitive market. I mean, I don't know how you can make this very seamless and very like where you can stand out versus the other candidate. And like you said, we're all alone in this process. Like I feel it's a very individual sport right now for all of us. And it'd be fun to make this a team thing, like some platform where we're all together as a package, and then we get sent off to a company and brand, an ideal world, I guess.
Yeah. And it
So
doesn't help that like LinkedIn is turning into Facebook. Like, tell me
yeah,
if I'm wrong. It's kind of turning into Facebook with the way the posts are and things like that, ads. Uh
it's too
yeah,
much. Like
not that professional platform anymore.
no, not anymore. I mean, it's very oversaturated with a lot of misinformation and
Yeah.
slash just
Oversaturated is a great word
the
for it.
and the kudos are just, I mean, they're rolling good for people, but it's a lot of kudos for just everyone's going through. It's just a crazy time in
Yeah.
this market. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully people can watch this video. Um, I don't know what maybe you could take something away from it, but I also want it to be able to start conversation and for people to be able to provide some advice or guidance.
mhm,
What has helped them on their journey with
yeah.
getting job interviews or like jobs, better
Mhm,
yet, what has helped with that? Um, and also like what if they did get laid off, like how that impacted them, like have they been chasing their dreams or
mhm.
has it opened up time for other things, like what's the silver lining to it, if
Yeah.
there is any.
No,
um
I mean, it's there has to be a situation where like where is this key? How can we crack this code of like just being able to get in front of someone and then just like it's I think it all comes down to like obviously you have to be talented at what you do, but at the same time you really have to vibe with the company and people you work with. Like it's really off of just like who you are. If you're a hard worker and you do your job and all that stuff, like you're in pretty good shape to be at these places. They're not looking for people. They want people to really dig their teeth into, the client, the project, or whatever it might be, the campaign. So
yeah, I'm curious how they measure that too, though,
mhm,
when looking at people's projects and stuff, because I've gotten rejection emails. And between the period of my application and the rejection, like I keep track of the traffic on my website, and I'll
yeah.
have maybe like no views or something like
Mhm,
that. So for me, it's kind of interesting how I get rejected even though somebody hasn't checked out my website,
mhm.
you know?
No, it's you,
Um,
you barely get to know the person off of a piece of paper in your portfolio. Like
yeah,
the call, like the Zoom, like it helps to talk face to face and like you really just understand the person. Like we're all human and like this is like like dating and interviewing are like the same stuff and same shit, which
yeah.
is funny.
Dude, to that point, maybe what we need is like a Tinder or a Bumble for jobs.
I like where you're at with
Like
that.
swipe right. You get to
Yeah.
see like the profile, and then there's like a video of you walking on the beach, uh,
Yeah, no.
talking about your experience and what you're looking for.
No, exactly. I mean, hell, I just deleted my Hinge yesterday, to be honest. So I'm all for like going in onto this new Hinge job
Dude,
situation.
you're locked in on the job search. It sounds.
No, it's exactly like yeah, it's there needs to be something like that. And like the conversation we're having here is organic, it's real, and that's what everyone should have going into an interview process,
Yeah,
because that really stands out from one candidate to the other, not a piece of paper and stats.
yeah, yeah. I agree. So that could be. I don't know. I think that's something for us to think about and how we can market ourselves, and see how that works. Like I guess now there's no time better than the time that you have from getting laid off to come up with these ideas and experiment. You know,
Exactly.
um,
It's it's almost, I mean, I'm seeing videos of people when they get laid off, and it's like obviously like it's either it's like horrible or like it's a breath of fresh air, it's
yeah,
and it's really a brand new chapter to like you learn from experience and you take what happened and kind of you're trying to move on and you're trying to go through. It's a breakup. I mean, same shit as well.
yeah, it
Um,
is. Yeah,
so it's just I mean, my dad tells me this all the time. Every phone call, like I'm upset, and like he says, you know, the guy from Alibaba or like some other CEO, they've all gotten fired. People have gotten fired and they've gotten laid off, and like that doesn't make them like a shitty person or like they're a nobody. Like because they became a somebody after that life event of getting laid off and fired. Um, so it's like just because like your friend has never gotten laid off or fired and he's thriving in his network and job doesn't mean like he's going to be successful at all because everyone has their journey, everyone has their different path when it comes to this.
yeah. I think that's a really good point. And honestly, I think probably a good note to end on because I don't want
Yeah.
to try to top that. That was a really good. I think that's really good input. And something to think about.
Mhm.
It's really easy for people to doubt themselves, the skills that they have and everything in a market like this, but it really isn't a reflection of you as a designer or a creative. It's just a shitty time in the market. And
Exactly.
yeah, something's got to give. So yeah. Um,
No,
yeah,
this is great. This is no, this is
it's been
me,
really
me
cool. Like, I love catching up with you anytime we catch up. I feel
I
like,
know, I know. It's
yeah, good.
great because I mean we've known each other for so long, since
Yeah.
college through Spartan and like through now. Like it's been like how many years? Like it's like it only feels like yesterday I just met you,
Yeah, I'm honestly, yeah. It's been about 7 years now
That's
that
wild to
we've known
me.
each other. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy, and it flies by so fast.
It does. It really just it's you have to keep these people close and like I'm happy that Chris, you're like one of my good friends and we've been
Same.
through it and it's we need to keep the support because it's what keeps us going.
Yeah, and that's another good point too. Is like y- hopefully you have a support system.
Hmm.
Somebody that you can lean on and everything like that. And not trauma dump on them by any means.
No.
Like you know, someone that I don't know, was an active listener and you could be heard. So
Yeah. Of
definitely that for me. Appreciate that, man.
course. Of
Um,
course.
yeah, dude. Appreciate you doing this with me. This has been an experiment for sure.
Yeah, and it's been great.
Yeah, and yeah, it's been fun, man. Um, yeah, and as this progresses, because I definitely plan to continue with this. Love to have you back at some point. We could talk about
100%.
once you're starting up your company or you're at a new job or something like that. We'll talk about that journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
So
hope the same thing for you, bro. Like same situation. Like we all can learn from our experiences and just obviously keep bringing awareness and keep just like inspiring people as
hell
well. So
yeah. Yeah. We want people to come together in the best sort of way, around this topic and support each other,
mhm.
provide advice if you have some, like we'd love that. Um,
Yeah.
talk about your journey. It doesn't even just have to be about design, it could be any industry.
Mhm.
I am curious how it is for other people in other industries. I've heard the
Yeah.
same thing. So yeah, would love to hear from other people. Um,
Yeah, it'd be
yeah.
interesting to learn that.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Dylan.
Of course.
Yeah, we'll chat again soon. Okay. Good luck with everything. Keep me posted.
Hell yeah, I will do, bro. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Later, man.
Later.